Jamming in the basement for most of pre-production on this. It was three of the guys live in Bloomfield, New Jersey. We turned their basement into essentially a demo space, put up soundproofing, mattresses, whatever we could find, foam padding, and made it somewhat soundproof. And then I brought over all my recording gear, and we set up a permanent space where we could just track everything into a computer this time.
It was really cool because we got to basically demo out every single song multiple times, and we spent a lot of time just working on each part, each instrument.
So as we were writing songs, we could kind of demo them essentially as we were going and hear what needs to be changed, what guitars go well together, what parts fit together, what doesn't. Watts came out for a couple days, and there was a few songs that we hadn't finished, just parts that we didn't know where to go with, kind of had an idea but didn't really know where to take it.
We brought Mike Watts into the mix. He came out to our space, and we went through all the songs, we listened to everything a bunch, and we were able to then dial in and fine tune like little things that we wanted to change here and there.
We started this session with a couple days where we just loaded all of our gear in the live room and played the songs together.
And we set everything up in the live room, and that way Mike got to see how we actually perform the songs, full band, what instruments are doing what. This is the first record where we're not having three guitars on every song. For example, Kevin is playing Rhodes piano on some tracks. And just seeing how those songs functioned in that environment, in a live environment, I think that was just, crucial to going into the recording process and just seeing, how the songs are assembled.
And then when we sat down in that room, played everything at a reasonable volume to hear the vocals over the drums and everything in this massive room, Mike Watts on the couch, that's when you can really take a step back and focus on the important, songwriting structure, like structural things and specific note choices and what complements this part and what doesn't. So that day for me is when I became a lot more comfortable with a number of the tracks, 2 or 3 of the tracks on the record.
I think the approach overall on guitar was a little different where, we're still focusing on a lot of sound manipulation, trying to make guitars sound not like guitars and more soundscapey type of sounds, and translating that in the studio was a lot of fun, just experimenting with a lot of weird pedals. We brought every piece of gear we have and just really dialing in and just having really characteristic sounds. I think that was, the most fun I've had working on this record.
On past albums, we had only really used guitars, bass guitar, and drums, and we really hadn't expanded beyond that too much. And on this album we really kind of flipped that idea on its head, where we were like, hey, what if we try this different instrument that none of us have ever really played before, but what would this sound like on a song, or what would this sound like on a song?
Let's kind of take down that barrier that we had originally of we're a band with guitars, let's use 3 guitars and see how we can utilize those to make songs. There was just kind of this natural progression of like, all right, we can play other instruments, so why aren't we doing it? And I bought this Korg Electribe sampler early on in the writing process, and I think I kind of got fixated on let me just get a new piece of gear that isn't a guitar and see how this can change the way I use guitar and play guitar. And I used it heavily on the record just to kind of take guitar loops that we made and cut them up and play them on the sampler, or make sounds that I haven't made before using it, or make drum beats for certain songs.
We did a few different things as far as drum recording went. We did a few standby techniques. One thing we would do is we'd have a baffle running across half the room, so it kind of cut the room in half, and we put blankets on the baffle, so that would kind of lessen the reverb that you're going to get out of that kind of a big room, a big tall room. We were looking for this clave kind of sound, and we didn't have any. So Mike decided to, I guess, start picking things up in the room and seeing if they made any sense, if it sounded any good. So one of the things he picked up was a Frank's hot sauce bottle, half full with Frank's hot sauce. So he started playing it with a Sharpie, and it was actually pretty cool. Like, the pitch would modulate the harder and softer he would hit it. We didn't really expect that to happen. So yeah, he ended up playing a bottle of Frank's hot sauce on one of our songs on the record.
I feel like overall it's just, the last 5 years it's coming to fruition in this record, and it's everything that I've wanted this band to be.